Let's be honest, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between a guy being friendly and a guy being sexually attracted to you. But the truth is, men are actually way more obvious than we think. The problem is, most people don't know what to look for. Today, I'm going to break down the 10 clear signs that reveal when a man is sexually attracted to you. And once you start noticing these signs, you'll never look at interactions the same way again. There's a reason people say the eyes never lie. When it comes to attraction, a man's eyes reveal far more than his words ever could. You see, men are often trying to play it cool, trying not to come across as too eager or obvious. But the moment his eyes settle on you in a way that's just a little longer than what would be considered polite, it's a dead giveaway. We all know what casual eye contact looks like. It's brief, it's functional, it serves a purpose in conversation. But when his eyes lock with yours and stay there just a beat too long, when he's holding your gaze like he's in no rush to look away, that's not casual, that's attraction, and it's one of the most primal signs that he's drawn to you on a deeper level. What makes eye contact so powerful is that it's unconscious. Even the most disciplined person finds it difficult to control how long they look at someone they desire. Think about it. If you've ever been attracted to someone yourself, you know how hard it is not to look at them. You might tell yourself to keep it subtle, but your eyes betray you. Men are no different. He might be trying to act uninterested, but the second you notice him scanning the room and his gaze lands back on you again and again, that's a silent confession. His eyes are already gravitating toward you before his mind even registers it, and once you pick up on it, you'll start noticing patterns you may have overlooked before. One of the clearest indicators is when his eyes drop from your eyes down to your lips. This isn't random. It's not just him being distracted. It's biology. When a man's eyes flicker to your mouth during conversation, it's his brain signaling desire. It's the same kind of instinct that tells you when you're hungry and your eyes naturally lock onto food. He's not doing it to be rude. And most of the time, he's not even consciously aware he's doing it. That tiny glance, repeated a few times, reveals he's picturing intimacy with you. It's subtle, but once you notice it, you'll see it everywhere, and it'll be impossible to unsee. Another thing to notice is how quickly he looks away when caught. If you lock eyes with him unexpectedly, what does he do? If he immediately diverts his eyes like he's been burned, that's attraction at play. He doesn't want to be caught staring because he knows it'll expose what he's feeling. On the other hand, if he doesn't look away and instead holds your gaze, leaning into that tension, it shows confidence in his attraction. Both versions communicate the same underlying truth. He finds you magnetic, and his eyes are struggling to hide it. The difference lies in whether he's bold enough to let it show or shy enough to try to mask it. It's also worth mentioning the way his pupils behave. This is one of those fascinating psychological signals you can't fake. When someone is attracted, their pupils dilate. Now, you're not expected to carry a magnifying glass around with you to check this, but you can often sense it. His eyes will appear darker, more open, more locked in when he's looking at you. Combine this with that lingering gaze, and you've got one of the most powerful signs of sexual attraction. Men don't consciously control this. It's biology in its rawest form. Attraction literally changes the way the eyes respond to light and stimulus, and you just happen to be the stimulus he can't look away from. Then there's the scanning behavior. If you notice his eyes don't just rest on your face but occasionally travel down your body, you can be almost certain it's attraction. Men, when drawn to someone, have a natural tendency to scan the physical presence of that person. He may try to disguise it, glancing quickly before darting back up to your eyes, but that repeated motion is telling. If he were indifferent, his eyes wouldn't wander. Indifference doesn't need to be disguised. But when desire is there, his brain is battling between politeness and impulse, and his eyes will constantly betray which side is winning. Finally, there's the warmth you feel when he looks at you. This isn't easy to measure, but it's something you sense. You know the difference between someone glancing at you out of courtesy and someone looking at you because they can't help themselves. His eyes soften, they stay longer, and they create a tension that feels like the rest of the world just faded a little in the background. That's attraction, raw and unfiltered. You can sense it not just in the length of the gaze, but in the energy it creates between you and him. A silent conversation happening without a single word being spoken. One of the most obvious signals that a man is sexually attracted to you is the way he manages distance, or more specifically, the way he tries to minimize it. Human beings naturally protect their personal space, and most men won't allow just anyone to cross that invisible boundary. But when he feels a pull toward you, that barrier gets thinner. He will lean in closer than necessary when you're speaking, even if he can hear you perfectly well from where he is. He will stand just a little nearer than social etiquette demands. It's as if his body is trying to close the gap, communicating desire without him even realizing it. This shift in proximity is one of the clearest unconscious tells, because attraction makes people crave closeness. Think about it. When you're drawn to someone, you don't want them across the room, you want them near. Men, when they feel that magnetic pull, will create excuses to be closer. If you're sitting at a table with others, he'll choose the seat next to you instead of across. If you're walking side by side, he'll position himself so your arms occasionally brush. Even in group conversations, he'll subtly angle himself toward you, leaning closer as though the rest of the people fade into the background. This isn't random positioning, it's instinct. His attraction overrides logic, and his body language works over time to reduce the distance between you. The second layer of this sign comes in the form of touch. And here's the important thing. We're not talking about grand, obvious gestures. A man who's sexually attracted to you will often test the waters with subtle, seemingly casual touches. A light brush on your arm when making a point, a playful nudge when he's teasing you, a hand that lingers just a moment too long when handing you something. These are all tiny indicators of attraction. They're designed to feel casual, but the subconscious motivation behind them is anything but casual. Touch is an ancient form of connection, and when he feels drawn to you, he will find reasons, however small, to bridge that physical divide. One of the things to notice is whether his touches seem to seek reciprocity. For example, if he touches your arm during conversation, does he lean in slightly afterward, almost waiting to see your reaction? That moment tells you everything. If you respond positively, he will feel encouraged to do it again. If you don't, he might retreat and hold back. Attraction is always testing the waters, and touch becomes the way he experiments. What makes this so telling is that men don't do it with everyone. They might be polite or friendly with others, but that repeated, slightly lingering touch, that's reserved for the person who stirs something deeper in them. There's also the matter of proximity in different environments. In crowded spaces, for example, an attracted man won't just stand near you out of convenience. He'll hover close enough that you feel his presence. On a date, he'll position himself where leaning in feels natural, as though the two of you are creating your own bubble. Even in group settings, his body will consistently orient toward you, feet pointed in your direction, torso angled your way, shoulders facing yours. Psychologists call this body orientation, and it's one of the most accurate signs of where someone's attention and attraction lie. You'll notice that even when the conversation shifts around the group, his body remains tethered to you. Of course, not every man is bold with touch, especially early on, but proximity alone can reveal just as much. If you catch him hovering nearby, finding reasons to pass by you, or choosing to sit close when other options are available, that's attraction playing out in real time. A man who isn't interested has no reason to consistently shorten the distance. But when he feels a pull, he naturally gravitates toward closeness. And that's the beauty of proximity. It's rarely accidental. It's almost always motivated by a deeper impulse, one that even he may not be fully aware of. Finally, notice how his energy shifts the moment he gets close. Proximity isn't just physical, it changes the atmosphere. When a man is drawn to you, the simple act of leaning in creates a spark of tension, a kind of unspoken intimacy. You feel it in the way his voice softens when he's closer, or the way the conversation seems to become more private, even in a crowded room. This closeness amplifies the chemistry, making every glance and touch carry more weight. It's not just about being physically near, it's about creating a connection where distance feels unnatural and closeness feels inevitable. When a man is sexually attracted to you, his body often starts revealing the truth before he ever opens his mouth. Body language is one of the most honest forms of communication because it bypasses the logical brain. You can control your words, you can even try to control your facial expressions, but your posture, your gestures, and the way you position yourself are far harder to fake. When he's drawn to you, his body almost instinctively shifts to showcase confidence, attentiveness, and openness. These are signals that once you start noticing them, will make it nearly impossible to mistake his attraction for simple friendliness. One of the clearest signs is how he positions his body when you're around. If a man is attracted to you, he doesn't stand or sit with his body closed off. Instead, he angles himself toward you, often with his torso, feet, and shoulders all directed in your direction. This is a subconscious way of giving you his full attention and signaling openness. Closed body language, crossed arms, turned away feet, hunched posture suggests disinterest or discomfort. But when everything about his stance points toward you, it's his body literally aligning itself with yours. Even in a group, if you notice that his body keeps facing you while others shift around, that's a sign that his attraction is pulling him toward you. Another powerful indicator is mirroring. Mirroring happens when someone subconsciously mimics the movements and gestures of the person they're attracted to. You cross your legs, he crosses his a few moments later. You lean in, he leans in. You sip your drink, and seconds later, he does the same. It's not deliberate. It's an instinctive way of building rapport and creating a sense of, we're in sync. Mirroring is the body's way of saying, I'm connected to you, I'm tuned in. If you spot a man copying your gestures without realizing it, it's a subtle but strong sign of his attraction. Then there's posture. Attraction often makes a man stand taller, pull his shoulders back, and square his chest. It's almost primal. The body is trying to display strength, confidence, and masculinity. Even men who normally slouch find themselves straightening up around someone they're drawn to. On a subconscious level, he's trying to appear more attractive, signaling that he's capable, protective, and worth your attention. This kind of peacocking is rarely done with conscious thought. It's just the body naturally trying to put its best self forward. When you see this shift in his posture the moment you walk into the room, you're witnessing the physical manifestation of his attraction. Gestures can also tell you a lot. Watch for signs of nervous energy, like fidgeting with his hands, adjusting his clothes, or running his fingers through his hair. These little behaviors often spike when a man feels attracted because his body is releasing nervous tension. At the same time, you might notice him using expansive gestures when he talks, taking up more space, spreading his arms wider, or moving with more animation. This is another subconscious attempt to appear more dominant and engaging. Both the nervous adjustments and the expansive movements are linked to attraction. One shows excitement he can't quite contain, and the other shows a drive to capture and hold your attention. Proximity in body language is another big one. Beyond just standing close, notice how his body seems to lean toward you, even when he's sitting still. If you're in conversation, does he tilt his head closer? Does his body subtly angle in, reducing the distance? Even in subtle ways, leaning is a form of investment. It's his body's way of saying, I want more of this connection. I want to be closer. If he's disinterested, you'll see the opposite. He'll lean back, create space, or position himself away. But when attraction is present, his body gravitates forward, pulled by that invisible magnet between you. Finally, pay attention to his expressions. A man who's sexually attracted to you often displays what psychologists call micro-expressions. These are fleeting, almost unnoticeable flashes of emotion that give him away. It might be a quick eyebrow raise when you say something playful, a subtle biting of his lip, or a smile that lingers just a little too long. These expressions aren't rehearsed, they're natural leaks of what he's feeling in the moment. Combine them with the other body language cues, mirroring, posture, gestures, leaning, and you start to see a complete picture forming, one that words alone could never capture. One of the most fascinating ways to spot attraction is by listening, not just looking. A man's voice changes when he's drawn to someone, and often he doesn't even realize it. The rhythm, the tone, the pace, all of it subtly shifts the moment he feels that spark. He may drop his voice slightly, speaking in a lower, deeper register, almost instinctively trying to sound more masculine and confident, or he might get more animated, his energy rising as he engages with you. Both extremes tell the same story. His usual communication style is altered because your presence has affected him. When a man feels sexually attracted, one of the first changes you'll notice is his tone softening when he's speaking to you directly. He may lower his volume so the conversation feels more intimate, almost like it's meant just for the two of you, even if you're surrounded by others. This lowering of his voice isn't just about privacy. It creates a sense of closeness, as if he's inviting you into a smaller, more personal space. If you've ever had someone lean in and speak just a little softer than necessary, you know how powerful that can feel. It turns ordinary dialogue into something charged with tension. At the same time, many men do the opposite. They become more energetic and expressive when attraction hits. Suddenly, they're telling stories with more excitement, cracking more jokes, or exaggerating their gestures as they speak. Why? Because attraction makes people want to impress, and energy is a way of holding attention. If he seems livelier with you than he does with others, that's not a coincidence. It's his way of signaling, your presence matters, I want to keep you engaged. This energy shift is easy to spot when you compare how he interacts with the group versus how he interacts with you specifically. Another important detail is pacing. Around someone he desires, a man might stumble on his words or rush his sentences, almost as if his brain can't keep up with his mouth. That nervous excitement leaks out in the way he speaks, quicker, more eager, maybe even peppered with laughter at things that aren't especially funny. On the flip side, he might slow down dramatically, savoring his words in a way that makes the interaction feel deliberate and meaningful. Both the quickening and the slowing reveal the same thing. You've disrupted his normal rhythm, and he's unconsciously adjusting because he feels the pull of attraction. Notice too how his voice shifts when he teases or flirts. Attraction often makes men slide into a more playful tone, sometimes dropping little jokes or witty remarks designed to create sparks. In these moments, his voice might take on a sing-song quality or a playful lilt different from his usual speaking style. This shift isn't just about humor, it's about testing chemistry, seeing if the energy bounces back. If his tone lightens noticeably when he's interacting with you compared to when he's speaking with others, it's another clue that he's drawn in by something more than casual interest. Silence also plays a role in voice and energy shifts. A man who's attracted might pause more often, leaving little gaps in the conversation that heighten the tension. Those moments of stillness, where he's holding your gaze and not rushing to fill the space, are as revealing as the words themselves. They create a sense of anticipation, like something more could happen at any moment. These pauses are rarely intentional. They happen because he's caught up in the moment, trying to balance his desire to connect with his fear of revealing too much. And then there's laughter. Pay close attention to how often and how freely he laughs around you. Attraction tends to magnify humor. He laughs louder, quicker, and more frequently at your comments, even the ones that aren't meant to be funny. His energy lifts because your presence excites him, and that excitement leaks out through laughter. It's one of the easiest shifts to notice because it stands out so clearly in contrast to how he behaves with others. When his voice grows warmer, his laughter more abundant, and his energy more alive in your presence, it's a powerful indication that his attraction isn't just surface level, it's running deep in the way he feels and expresses himself. One of the most undeniable signs of attraction is the way a man directs his attention. In a world full of distractions, phones buzzing, conversations happening, people moving around, attention is the most valuable currency. When a man is sexually attracted to you, he doesn't just notice you, he prioritizes you. His focus shifts from the noise of the room to the presence of one person, and that one person is you. You'll see it in the way he listens, the way his eyes linger, and the way he seems to filter out everything else to stay tuned in to what you're saying. Think about group settings for a moment. If there are 5 people chatting and laughing, where is his focus? When attraction is in play, you'll notice that his responses, his laughter, and his engagement seem to gravitate more heavily toward you. Even if someone else is telling a story, he may glance your way as if to check your reaction before laughing. This is an unconscious form of exclusivity. His brain is wired to seek your validation above anyone else's. His attention naturally orbits around you, regardless of the social dynamic.